There are 3 rental strategies beginners use, but only one is right for you. So here is how to choose. If you're working on improving your finances and you're wondering what the next step could look like, I am hosting a free workshop that shows a simple, beginner-friendly path to buying your first property, even if you don't know where to start. If you want clarity instead of overwhelm, you can join using the link in the description. So the first strategy you can employ is what is known as long-term rental. This is what most people are doing. It's stable, it's simple, and so it's definitely beginner friendly. This is where we get usually people who are on leases. Now it's usually 1 year, like 12 months and above. That's typically what I would consider as long-term. It's hands-off. You really are not getting much traffic. As soon as you get someone in there for 1 year, they might even stay 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. Heck, they could even stay 13 years. I have a relative recently tell me that. So, that's really, really nice and easy. It's a little difficult initially to find the tenant, for all the kind of moving aspects and writing the lease and all that. Yeah. But once they're there, once they're inside, it's very hands-off. Once in a blue moon, you might get a call. So it really is the simplest. Now, of course, when you're into long-term rental, it's a little bit different in terms of the laws that apply. And so you want to check the laws that apply in your area for your specific country. Again, this is not legal advice. I'm not an attorney. If you need legal advice, then I suggest that you contact an attorney. So again, this is the first strategy, but there are other strategies. A second strategy is what is known as medium-term rental. Now, this is the highest, beginner-friendly to a certain extent, cash flow. Now, I had this from my duplex, that's 2 units, my experience with that particular property. So I went in initially thinking, okay, well, at least I'll run the numbers, making sure it all works the long term, because that's going to be your lowest monthly rate. But I would hope that there'd be a possibility of getting extra income from something like a short term. That's usually less than 1 month. What ended up happening was I was told that I had to do at least 1 month minimums, that the borough wasn't too happy doing anything less than that. So it was kind of almost being forced into it, but it really can work because when you have medium term, you're getting pretty decent cash flow. Yet it's not the same headache of like nightly guests or weekly guests or lots of turnover like that, where it's almost like renting out a car and your car getting wrecked. The medium term is a nice intermediate stage. Now, usually what that means is 1 month, 3 months, even 6 months. Sometimes it gets a little bit nebulous then between 6 months and 11 months. Some people call 6 months long term. I tend to look at 12 months being really long term. Anything between about 1 month and 11 months usually is kind of medium term. And really where I kind of see it is more to do with the furnishing aspect. There are some people that have unfurnished medium-term rentals. In fact, there are some people that have furnished long-term rentals. I don't really do that, and I don't think it's that popular, at least in the US. Of course, there are exceptions. What we're looking in medium-term is we're more thinking about furnished turnkey units. It's usually relocation. People who have like maybe insurance, their kitchen is on fire or went on fire, not right now, went on fire, and they're getting some temporary accommodation. Their insurance company puts them into a place for maybe 1 or 2 months while they're getting some work done on their house, some renovation. Usually renovations as well. Some people want to spend 2 months in a place. That's perfectly acceptable. Sometimes you're almost into corporate. So when someone is coming to stay for 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, even like 3 months, that's medium term. Or even traveling nurses, fellowships, medical people, clinicians, even visiting academic faculty, people like that. So this is a nice intermediate because you can charge a little bit more at kind of premium rate. But you do have to kind of getting into furnishing, and you are going to get that turnover because, a month later, you got to find someone else, or 3 months later, or 6 months later, whatever it is. So you're not going to get that easy long-term set it and forget it with medium term. You are having to do that turnover, but you are possibly getting a little bit more in terms of your monthly. Now, the third strategy is short-term rentals. And short-term rentals are extremely profitable in certain areas, but they're operationally much heavier. So look, with a short-term rental, I find it really good for me when I'm doing my first 2 properties or short-term rentals. And I think it's insane. I'm looking abroad right now, and you get really, really high income. Again, it's less than a month, typically speaking, that's short-term rentals. Fully furnished, I don't really know any people who are renting places that are unfurnished that are less than a month. So typically, in this case, you are thinking of sites we've heard all over the place, like Airbnb, VRBO, Booking.com. The actual websites, it does not determine whether it's short-term. That's just the website, right? It's the actual length of stay. And it's also usually kind of also do it furnished, because short-term rental, yeah, you're talking furnished. Long-term rental, I look at that as not really furnished at all, kind of bare essentials, just your 4 walls, ceiling and the floor kind of thing. So again, short-term rentals, you can get a lot of money because people are willing to pay a lot more. Think of like hotels, like 100, 200 a night. Now, you're not going to get all 30 nights booked, but that could be, 3,000 to 6,000 a month for a place that might usually only make 1,000 or 2,000 a month, right? So you can get quite a lot more, but it becomes a job unless you know more outsourcing. So it's a little operationally heavy. Believe it or not, it was my first strategy that I tried. So, if you're thinking about who each strategy is for, look, long-term rental is great. It's the first, it's easy. You don't have to know anything about short-term rental, furnishing, how to actually create an advert on Airbnb, VRBO, etc., photography. You don't have to know anything about that. You don't have to, you definitely almost need to hire someone to run your short-term rental if you're not, coming in with some experience, or you're not willing to hustle a lot. You need a lot more time. So if your time scarce, then you might want to step away from short-term rental. This is more for people who've got a little bit more time, or they're able to outsource it. They got the kind of the hustle, the skill to outsource to other people to do that. Long-term are for people that really don't want a job. They want almost something that's almost passive. Now, real estate's never fully passive unless you're buying a REIT, a real estate investment trust. But really, if you don't have much time, you may want to go towards long-term rental. But if you're, again, you also have to look at the area, right? Make sure you check out the legalities of your area, because some places you're just not allowed to do short-term rental, or you have to get a certain license, and usually it's very hard to get those licenses. Medium-term can be the sweet spot. Usually most places allow medium-term rental. I've yet to know any place that doesn't allow medium-term rental. Now, there are some debates and some discussions coming up right now in the United Kingdom and in Ireland abroad from Americans. So there are things about like having tenants for 6 years and things like this in places like London, places like Dublin. There's discussions about this. There's discussions in certain cities because they're kind of locking down on short term, but medium term, not so much. It'd be very difficult for them to impose rules about medium term. The Supreme Courts, even in the different states, would have something to say about it, because typically speaking, above a month, now they do say 6 months, and they do talk about, in certain areas, they'll talk about, well, we really are zoning for, our planning is for kind of stable, permanent residents, etc., that are taking part in the various areas, the communities, the little leagues, the baseball and all that kind of stuff. We don't want people that are coming and going. Sure, but it's very hard to argue that it's transient when it's longer than 1 month, because it's no longer hotel occupancy tax, etc. That's less than a month. So you're no longer even paying hotel occupancy tax. So the medium term could be the sweet spot between 1 and under 12 months. You're talking 11 months, 10 months, 9 months, 8 months, all the way down to about 1 month. 1 month minimum and above. That is a very sweet spot, but it's not everyone's cup of tea, because you can have quite a lot of vacancies. So that can be an issue, right? So it's not for the faint of heart. So if you really want to do the easiest thing, for those that just want set it and forget it, long-term rental. On the other side, short-term rental for people who can either find people that can run it for you, or you have more time. The medium term, you're kind of swinging for the fences. You're in between the two. It can work for you, but you have to be okay with occasional vacancies and things like that. So if you've been thinking about buying your first property, but you feel unsure or behind, listen, you're not behind. You just haven't been given a simple roadmap to follow. Most beginners have the ability to start. They just don't know how. I'll walk you through the beginner roadmap in a free workshop. Tap the link and join us. If you want to make income, then you want to think about short-term rental as a bit more. So again, if you have lack of time, go towards long-term. If you really want more income, you can go towards short-term, but you need to have more time, typically speaking, to set it up for short-term rental. If you're okay with more risk, you might want to go short-term as well. There's a different type of risk. Now, when I initially started, I preferred the short-term because I didn't really want to get into the game of long-term rental and all the tenancy, landlord, legal areas, because you don't really get into that with short-term rental as much. That's my own personal opinion. Who am I to know? I've been running this for 6 or 7 years now, doing it in multiple countries, about 10 units at this point. And so this is my personal experience, but I initially found the short-term rental a little bit easier, but that was just my training. It's not everyone's cup of tea. You might want to come in with the long-term rental. And by the way, I'm giving a lot of this away for free right now. So in my free live training, I'm going to help you choose the right path based on your budget and your goals. Again, you don't have to do all of this at once. You can start with one property at a time. So let's build your wealth one property at a time, and I'll see you in the next one.